She walked into the grand ballroom wearing a simple cotton dress, while everyone else sparkled in diamonds and silk. They laughed, whispered, and called her out of place. But when the host announced who she really was, the woman they mocked fell silent, and the people who once sneered at her wished they could disappear. That night, a simple woman taught the richest of the rich what true wealth really means. Welcome to Tales and Turns, where every story reminds us that appearances can deceive, and true worth often hides behind simplicity. Before we begin, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more heartfelt stories that move and inspire. And tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? We love seeing our family of viewers from around the world sharing their thoughts. The invitation had come in a gold envelope sealed with wax, an exclusive charity gala at the city's most luxurious hotel. Everyone who was anyone would be there: business magnates, celebrities, heirs, and socialites. Among the long list of guests was one name that puzzled the organizers: Clara Evans. No title, no company, no reputation. Just a plain name, handwritten neatly on the RSVP card. The staff whispered that it must have been a mistake, but it wasn't. Clara arrived exactly on time. When she entered the ballroom, heads turned. The chandeliers glittered like stars above her. The air smelled of perfume and wealth. But Clara walked in wearing a simple pale blue dress that looked handmade. Her shoes were modest, her hair pinned neatly without jewels. She smiled politely at everyone, unaware of the quiet laughter that rippled through the room. "Ooh, let the maid in," one woman murmured behind a champagne glass. Another whispered, "Maybe she's lost." Clara heard them, but she just kept walking, calm and graceful. The host of the evening, Mr. Richard Langford, one of the wealthiest men in the city, noticed the murmurs too. He approached Clara with polite curiosity. "Good evening, madam," he said. "I don't believe we've met." Clara smiled.
No, we haven't.
"Thank you for inviting me." Her voice was soft but confident. Richard raised a brow. He hadn't invited her personally. "Ah, so you're one of the guests from the foundation's list," he said, trying to mask his confusion. She nodded, taking a glass of water instead of wine. Around them, the whispers continued, the air thick with judgment. As the evening went on, the guests flaunted their diamonds and deals. They spoke loudly about their latest yachts, art collections, and vacations. Clara sat quietly at a side table, occasionally watching the string quartet perform. When she tried to join a conversation, people politely smiled but turned away quickly. To them, she was invisible, a nobody. But there was one person who couldn't stop noticing her: Daniel Langford, Richard's son. While others saw a woman who didn't belong, Daniel saw something different: calm dignity. After dinner, the auction began. Priceless paintings, antique jewelry, rare wines. Bids soared into the thousands. Then came the final item, a painting called The Heart of Time, by a legendary artist, valued at over $2 million. The auctioneer started at $500,000. Hands shot up instantly. 1 million, 1.5, 2 million. And then, to everyone's shock, a soft voice from the corner said, 5 million. The room froze. Every head turned toward Clara, who sat still, her face serene. The auctioneer blinked. "Mom, did you say 5 million? She nodded gently. "Yes, I'll pay in full tonight." Murmurs spread like wildfire. Some laughed, thinking she was joking. "Does she even have $5? Someone sneered, but Daniel watched her closely. There was no hesitation in her eyes. Within minutes, a man in a dark suit entered the hall, whispered something to the auctioneer, and handed over a folder. The auctioneer's expression changed instantly. "Ladies and gentlemen," he announced, "the bid has been verified. The painting goes to Ms. Clara Evans." Silence fell. Richard Langford looked utterly confused. How is that possible?" he whispered. Clara rose, walking gracefully to the stage. Mr. Langford, she said kindly, thank you for hosting this event. I've always admired your foundation's work. I've been quietly funding your projects for the past 10 years. Under my company's trust. Gasps echoed through the hall. Your company, Richard repeated. She smiled. Evans Holdings. The name sent shockwaves through the room. Evans Holdings was an international conglomerate that owned multiple tech, real estate, and shipping firms. One of the biggest in the world. And the woman they'd mocked all night was its founder. The silence that followed was almost painful. The same women who had laughed behind her back now stared in disbelief. You're that Evans? One of them stammered. Clara nodded. Yes. I prefer to live simply. Wealth is a tool, not a crown. She turned to face the crowd. You see, tonight wasn't about status or glamour. It was about helping those who have nothing. Yet some of us forgot that. Her voice was calm, but her words hit hard. True richness isn't in what you wear or who you impress. It's in what you give. Daniel felt his chest tighten. He had grown up surrounded by money, but in that moment, he realized he had never seen it used with such grace. Clara smiled kindly and donated another $10 million to the foundation, asking for it to go toward education for underprivileged children. The entire ballroom erupted in applause, genuine this time. Even Richard, humbled, approached her with gratitude. You've taught us more tonight than any speech ever could, he said softly. Clara only smiled. We all start somewhere. I just never forgot where I came from. As the night ended, Clara quietly left the hall, her simple dress glowing softly under the golden lights. The same people who had once mocked her now looked at her with admiration, not for her wealth, but for her humility. Daniel ran after her outside the hotel. Miss Evans, he said, breathless, thank you. You've changed how I see everything. Clara turned, her eyes warm. Then I've done something good, she replied, before stepping into her modest car and driving away. That night, the richest people in the city learned a lesson that no money could buy. That true power lies not in showing off your wealth, but in carrying it with quiet grace. And in the days that followed, one phrase spread like wildfire through every magazine and social circle. The simple woman who was richer than them all. In every way that mattered. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Tales and Turns for more emotional stories that reveal the beauty behind life's hidden moments. And tell us in the comments, have you ever been underestimated, only to prove them